The new school. Muji, a transfer student, arrives at a new school in a small town. The school building is ancient with dark corridors and an eerie atmosphere. On the first day, Muji notices strange things. Whispers in empty classrooms, shadows moving where they shouldn't be, and a cold draft that follows him. The other students seem distant, almost as if they're hiding something. The unseen eyes. Muji begins to experience disturbing dreams where he's lost in the school, chased by unseen figures. He hears stories from his classmates about students who went missing years ago, their spirits still haunting the school. Muji discovers an old, forgotten wing of the school, and his curiosity gets the better of him. As he steps into the wing, he feels like someone, or something, is watching him. The locked room. Muji befriends a classmate named Aisha, who warns him about the school's history and the locked room on the third floor. The room is said to be cursed, and anyone who enters never comes out the same. Muji, skeptical but intrigued, decides to investigate. He finds the room but is unable to enter as it's locked. That night, his dreams become even more vivid, showing him the door to the locked room opening on its own. The whispering walls. Muji starts hearing whispers coming from the walls, calling his name and urging him to enter the locked room. He notices that Aisha has become distant, almost like she's trying to avoid him. Strange occurrences intensify. A blackboard erases itself. Books fall off shelves and lights flicker whenever Muji is near. The other students begin to act strangely around him as if they know something he doesn't. The disappearing act. A student suddenly goes missing and the entire school is on edge. Muji begins to connect the disappearance to the locked room. He confronts Aisha, who reveals that the missing student was last seen near the third floor. Aisha finally opens up about her own experience, how she too had once tried to enter the locked room, but was stopped by a force she couldn't explain. She warns Muji to stay away, but he is determined to uncover the truth. The secret journal. Muji finds an old journal hidden in the library, written by a student who attended the school many years ago. The journal details strange rituals performed in the school and mentions a dark presence that resides within the locked room. The journal ends abruptly, with the last entry talking about the student planning to confront the presence. Muji is left with more questions than answers, but he is more determined than ever to enter the room. The broken seal. Muji and Aisha decide to enter the locked room together. They manage to break the seal on the door, which seems to have been locked with more than just a key. Inside, they find a room that looks like it hasn't been touched in decades. There are old, rotting desks and a large mirror on one wall. As they explore, they find disturbing symbols and remnants of the rituals mentioned in the journal. The mirror suddenly cracks, and they hear a low growl coming from the darkness. The shadow within. The room begins to change around them, with the walls shifting and shadows growing longer. Muji and Aisha are trapped, with the presence they read about in the journal now making itself known. The entity reveals that it feeds on fear and has been trapped in the room for years, only able to escape when it possesses a student. Muji realizes that the missing students were taken by this entity, and it now has its eyes on him. The final stand. Muji and Aisha try to escape the room, but the entity won't let them go easily. They find themselves in a twisted version of the school, where the entity controls everything. Using the journal, they attempt to perform a ritual to banish the entity, but it fights back with all its strength. The room becomes a battlefield of light and shadow, with Muji and Aisha struggling to keep their sanity intact. The last goodbye. With a final effort, Muji manages to complete the ritual, weakening the entity. But as it fades, it tries to take Aisha with it. Muji is forced to make a terrible choice, to save Aisha or himself. In the end, Muji sacrifices himself to ensure that Aisha escapes, trapping the entity in the room once more. The story ends with Aisha leaving the school, now forever changed, while the school stands silent, with only the whispers of the past remaining.